What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Gridiron, your Apollo HOU Houston Texans podcast. My name is Noah Outlaw. I am one of your hosts, as always. And as always, I'm here with Garrett Harrelson. What's up, brother?
Lisa Nagaib. That's my Nick Casario long live the fighters chant, dude.
Yeah.
I've never we'll get into it, but best Texans free agency already ever.
Of all time.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be
Yeah.
because
We
not a
can
single
jump in. Yeah,
bad
let's
move
just
has
jump
been
into it
made.
right now. I mean, Texans free agency has been a blast.
Yeah, no time. We don't have to fucking beat around the bushes. We don't have to play through it. Nick Casario is one of the best GMs in the league. He has already been cooking. He's been cooking the last few years. This free agency was hyped up to be, oh, wow, we're top 3 in cap space, or we could really, really spend some money. And it's funny because the first day, everyone was having a meltdown. Twitter was having a meltdown. What is Casario doing? What are we doing here? We're not spending money. We let Grenard walk. We let Cashman walk. We didn't sign Saquon. We didn't sign Christian Wilkins. What are we doing?
Yep.
And then Casario fucking said, "Watch this. I'm gonna cook." He's just been cooking. He has been cooking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, day one started out like you mentioned. It was looking sort of rough. Obviously, Grenard goes to the Vikings on a deal that, I mean, he got paid really well, and I don't think the Texans wanted to pay him all of that, especially with he's got some injury issues that obviously the Vikings probably looked into and felt fine. But I think looking at that, and Grenard just has some things not around him, like he's a great player and he's a great guy, but there's just some things I don't think they wanted to commit to, especially when you can get Danielle Hunter, right? Especially when Danielle Hunter is available. They were probably already in communication with his team, and they knew that they could get Danielle on a deal that they wanted. And so Jonathan Grenard leaves, and we're like in shambles. Blake Cashman leaves, we're in shambles. But overall, we ended up upgrading at those positions. We had 2 guys better than those dudes. All respect to those dudes. Love Cashman, love Grenard. But now we're sitting here just a few days later with Danielle Hunter, who is a no doubt upgrade over Grenard. And we got Azeez Al-Shaair from the Titans, who led their team in tackles last year with 163 total and 2 sacks at the middle linebacker position. You can't really ask for more than that. So let's just go, Garrett. I'm just going to go through, get your takes. Talk about Danielle Hunter. Obviously, we got him on a 2-year, $49 million deal. He's 29, had 16 and a half sacks last year. One of the more underrated players in the league, in my opinion.
He's a freak. He is a freak.
Yeah.
One of the most underrated defensive players in the league. Like you said, 16 and a half last year. And the rumor last year was that we were attempting to trade for him last season, and obviously that didn't happen. And he was going to be a rental, so why waste the pick? I think maybe the plan was all along bring Danielle home back to Houston, where he grew up in Katy, Texas. I think that was the plan all along, because when they let Grenard walk, and the deal was, I think the Vikings got a great deal out of it. I think it was a cheap, valuable deal. They're getting Grenard, he's a Pro Bowl caliber player, and they got him on a cheap deal.
Yeah.
I thought, well, man, we couldn't have done that. Not. I wasn't questioning it too much, but I was like, man, that's a pretty good deal. Then Danielle Hunter comes in the fold. Immediately, we sign him the next day to a 2-year, 49 million, 51 million, something like that. I think it has a max of 51 million, 48 guaranteed.
Yeah, max 51 million.
But the rumor was he wanted 30 million a year. Apparently, reportedly, he takes a discount to come home, which is amazing. That's stuff you want to hear from the guys signing with us. They're taking a discount to fucking play with the Texans. That is crazy. That's never happened before. That was the plan all along. I feel to upgrade that is a clear upgrade. I mean, he's a Pro Bowler. He's averaged like 10 and a half sacks his entire career, a year, since he's come in the league. So we got a dog, an absolute beast. I just can't even fathom how how NFL offenses are going to have to plan around blocking Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, and also Danico Autry.
Danico
That's going to be
Autry,
crazy.
and also think about if the Texans pull a trigger on an Eric Armstead, signing,
Yeah,
which is kind of in the air right now. We traded Malik Collins just about 2 hours before recording this.
yeah. Time of
And,
recording
obviously we'll be
1:19.
keeping an eye on the notifications from Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and everyone else. But yeah, no, Daniil Hunter, he was he was one of the guys at the top of everyone's wish list, Texans fans' wish list coming into the free agency. And I mean, we got him, and Daniil Hunter and a D'Amico Ryan's defense is gonna be deadly. And you
Oh,
mentioned Will Anderson on the other side. I mean,
oh,
you can double team one of them, right? I mean, you can get two guys on Daniil or two guys on Will, but either way, someone's hitting your fucking quarterback when you play the Houston
yeah.
Texans. And
I
yeah,
mean I think I saw a tweet. It was like last season just alone, Danico Autry, Daniil Hunter, and Will Anderson Jr. combined for like 35 sacks. Just
yeah,
them alone. And that
yeah,
I mean, put them all on the same line. They're going to feast. Our defensive line is
yeah,
going to be top 5, top 3. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't know if there's a better pair of edge rushers than Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. right now. I mean, that's
yeah.
because Will
I don't
Anderson
either.
Jr. is just coming into his own. I mean, second half of the season, he was feasting. Defensive player or defensive rookie of the year. I
Yeah,
mean, one of them is going to have both of them will have 15 plus sacks. Let's just say
yeah,
that right now. Both of them will have
yeah.
15 plus sacks. Will one of them get to 20? I think Will.
Will.
And then
Yeah,
Denico Autry, you can plug him anywhere in the line. He can play on the edge. He
yeah.
can play up the middle. He's going to have maybe close to 10 sacks. We're going to be feasting on quarterbacks. It's going to
Yeah,
be
let's touch on
crazy.
Danico real quick. Stealing Danico Autry from a division
Mm,
rival in the Titans. When we signed Danico for 2 years, 20 million last year, had 11.5 sacks. I remember one of the Titans players, I can't remember who, but right after that news broke, one of the Titans player tweeted, "I mean, I can't believe we let Nico go to the Texans," with like a face palm emoji. And
mm,
and it's true. I mean, Danico is a guy who's another underrated dude, but 11.5 sacks last year is nothing to
yeah,
scoff at. That's huge. That's a huge year
yeah,
for any player, right? So get here on a affordable deal. And this defensive line is just looking filthy. And also, Garrett, we signed Aziz Al Shair. You mentioned him in our video about free agents we should sign before obviously the tampering period opened. Touch on that a little bit. 3 years, 34 million, 163 tackles last year.
yeah. That's another steal because the premier linebacker in this defense will most likely be Christian Harris. Christian Harris was an absolute dog in the second half last season. In the
Yeah,
playoffs, you saw him have that insane game against the Browns. So excuse me, Christian Harris is going to be the focal point, patrolling the middle. But adding Aziz Al Shair right next to him, a guy who is an elite run defender, had, like you said, like 163 total tackles last year. Is physical, is an athlete, by the way. He can cover too. I watched
yeah,
highlights. He can cover. Adding him
yeah,
right next to Christian Harris, this is a great underrated young linebacking core that will be such a force with Miko operating it. I mean,
yeah,
Miko has worked with Aziz. We've already established that. Loves Christian Harris. He's a Bama boy. I mean, this could be a top 5 linebacking duo in this league
yeah,
this year.
yeah.
They could just be absolutely feasting. I know this is a joke, but Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis. I don't know. Like, no.
Yeah. No,
I
I mean
mean,
you're right though.
I'm just
There's
excited about it. I'm just
there's a ton
excited
of
about it.
potential. There's a ton of potential there. I mean, like you mentioned Christian Harris. I
Mhm.
mean, this defense is just overall. We talked about the defensive line, but now with Aziz, you got with Christian Harris and then Derek Stingley and just everyone. Jimmy Ward's still back there. Jalen Petrie still back there, and I think the Texans are going to be signing another safety coming up as well, probably before the end of free agency, before
Maybe.
the season starts. We'll have another safety. Justin
Yeah.
Simmons is still available. There's a lot of big names available at the safety position. Uh,
Woo. I mean,
also, speaking of Derek
I mean,
Stingley, opposite him, Texans signed Jeff Okuda from the Falcons. He's a guy who came out of the draft, a lot of potential, hasn't really found his footing anywhere yet. He was all right last year,
Yeah.
but obviously
He's had
D'Amico
some
and
injuries.
Casario
He's had some
and
injuries.
company, yeah, he's obviously D'Amico is seeing some potential, thinks he can get something out of him. Signing him to a 1 year, pretty much prove it deal for 4.5 million. Basically, also signaling that we're not going to be bringing back Steven Nelson. So obviously, I know you have thoughts on that, but Jeff Okuda, 1 year, 4.5 million. I don't hate it. What do you think?
Oh no. I did want Steven Nelson back on a cheaper deal because I like Steven Nelson in our defense last year. I thought he did a lot of
Yeah,
great things, but
yeah,
letting him walk so we can sign elsewhere and then just sign Jeff Okuda to a 1 year prove it deal. I think that's very smart because Jeff
yeah,
Okuda has, I wouldn't say he's been bad. He's been unlucky with injuries. Got traded to Atlanta last season. In Atlanta, he was fine. He was a part of like a pretty good secondary. Uh, 1 year deal. It's a low risk, high reward type of deal. He's a top 3 pick a few years ago, just like Derek Stingley.
yeah,
And Derek
yeah,
Stingley last year, he wasn't very good, and we thought, hey, oh, excuse me,
yeah,
not last year, but 2022, he
yeah,
wasn't finding his footing as a rookie because he was being used incorrectly. What if D'Amico has a plan for him? What if D'Amico
yeah,
can get every ounce of talent out of Jeff Okuda, and we have
yeah,
both top 3 picks at corner? That's scary to think about,
yeah,
because also D'Amico has been milking every ounce of talent out of any player he can get a hold. We
yeah.
got Derek Barnett. We got Derek Barnett off the waivers, and he became honestly one
My
of our best
dog.
pass rushers in the second half last year when guys were being
Yeah,
injured. So like
yeah,
D'Amico can get every ounce of talent out of guys, and if he can get every ounce of talent out of Jeff Okuda alongside Derek Stingley and that defense, that's a smart signing
yeah.
right there. That's a smart signing, smart move.
Well, that's what I was going to mention as well. I mean, Jeff Okuda comes into the league, like you mentioned, a lot of like high praise, a lot of high hopes. Obviously, high draft pick, and obviously doesn't find his footing. But the deal is, I was going to bring up the same thing about Stingley. Is we saw what D'Amico did with Stingley, and obviously this deal means that D'Amico sees something in Okuda. I'm expecting a breakout year from Okuda alongside, and I really think Jeff Okuda and Derek Stingley are both going to become staples on this Texans defense for a long time. I think this Okuda signing is kind of underrated. I think Jeff Okuda is going to be a long-term Texan. I think next year he's going to have a huge year, and D'Amico's going to figure him out, and him and Stingley are going to be lockdown corners, and
Yeah.
I can't wait. And also, I don't think Okuda being on this 1 year, $4.5 million deal doesn't take away from the odds of the Texans drafting a corner either. I think the Texans are still going to address corner in the draft, and then we'll have and if Okuda's great, then we have a surplus of corners we can do whatever we want with. So I love this signing. I was really pumped when it happened, and I'm excited. I just think Okuda is also a fun, fiery guy to have on the team. So
Yeah.
going to be
No,
great. Let's
you
flip to the offensive side of the ball real quick.
yeah.
Joe Mixon is a Houston Texan.
Hey, not only did we upgrade at linebacker, edge rusher, maybe even corner, I don't know, we'll see about that. We also upgraded at running back, which we
Yeah,
were all obviously thinking we were going to sign Saquon. Saquon goes
yeah,
to the Eagles. They offered more. Also, we also have to take into account that Saquon is from Philly. So he
yeah.
signed with his
Played
hometown
at Penn
team, right?
State.
So
Yeah,
I don't know how we could have fought that, but we ended up still trading for a conditional seventh for Joe Mixon. So we get 1 year of Joe Mixon, and I really think he fits his offense well. I think he fits our scheme very well. He's a obviously he's not a flashy, oh, I'm going to run an 80-yard touchdown type of guy, but he can get in between the tackles. We run it between the tackles quite a bit, one of our
yeah,
fortes. Joe Mixon can do exactly that. One thing that is very underrated about him as well is it is him in the screen game. You can use him in the screen
yeah,
game, and we love to run our screens. We know that. So
yeah,
Joe Mixon is dangerous in the screen game. which opens a lot of opportunities up and a lot of interesting opportunities. And I mean, he's only 20. He's the same age as Saquon. That's another thing that doesn't seem
Yeah.
real, but it is.
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
Well, here's the deal about this. So obviously, I've been preaching that the Texans need Saquon a lot. I was hoping that deal would get done. When I saw the news break that he was going to be an Eagle, I was bummed. Um, there was a bidding war between the Eagles and the Texans. Eagles wanted to spend more money. Texans tapped out at 3 years, 33 million. He ended up getting 3 years, 37 and a half from the Eagles, which is fair. That makes sense. That's fine. I respect Nick not wanting to overpay. And it's fine. And I understand there's risk around Saquon. There's I think his injuries get overblown, but they're there. That is a thing you have to keep in mind. The thing about Mixon is he was not anyone that was on our mind. We were thinking, looking at Saquon, we're looking at Derrick Henry, we're DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, right? Joe Mixon was not available, whenever for a while up until 2 days ago, uh,
Yeah.
and not even really yesterday. I love this though because here's the deal. You're right. He's the same age as Saquon. You look what Devin Singletary did. Look what Bobby Slowick was able to get out of Singletary. Singletary is a good back, but he's not as good as Joe Mixon. I wouldn't even say it's particularly close. I mean, Singletary's good, but Joe Mixon is in the last 5 years has been rated as one of the top 8 running backs in the league, PFF wise.
Yeah.
So he has a lot. He's consistently in 5 of the last 6 seasons, he's had 1,200 all-purpose yards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sign me up for that, right? I mean, he's a good player. He's a really good player. Cincinnati got a lot out of him, and he was a staple of that offense for a long time. And now he's a Houston Texan, and I really think he's going to fit in well. I think it's just an upgraded running back, which is what we wanted. It's not Saquon, it's not Derrick Henry, but Joe Mixon's not a schlub either. He's a guy who has been involved, has been a top 5 running back in the league, has at his name in the elite running backs of the league, and he's here, and that's exciting. I can't wait to see what he does in a Texans jersey. I love this move. And also, we basically got him for nothing. We traded a 7th round pick to Cincinnati, and then we just got a 7th round pick from Malik Collins. So basically, we broke even there, and we're paying him. What is it? How much is he making this year? Five and a half
He
million, something
signed
like that.
when he signed his extension. It was a 4-year, $48 million extension, but I don't know what he's getting this year. But the one thing that's kind of beautiful about this is, signing a free agent running back. You have to commit to him for, on a multi-year deal. They're not going to take a 1-year deal. They're not dumb, but you
Yeah,
don't have to commit to Joe Mixon beyond this year. He's a free agent after 2024. You could let him walk if he doesn't perform up to your standards or you're not satisfied with his play. You could let him walk. You're not committed to him after this year. So all you got to do is give up a 7th, pay him whatever he's owed this year, which I don't know I don't know how much it is, but it's probably not as much. I mean, running
not a
back
lot.
contracts
Yeah,
are usually pretty front loaded. Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of beautiful. It basically everything we were fearing, or the opposite of what we were fearing about signing a running back, is like,
yeah,
oh, are they gonna come in and be washed? Are they gonna be they're gonna get injured? Oh, well, doesn't matter because after 2024, we could just wash our hands of them if we want, you know.
yeah,
But I don't
yeah.
think
It's
that's
not
gonna
a
be the
long term
case.
commitment.
I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think he will be at least 1,000-yard rusher this season, which that could mean everything in this offense. Is if you
Yeah,
have 1,000-yard rusher, whenever Devin Singletary was playing well, we were playing well. Joe Mixon is better than
yeah.
Devin Singletary. Do the math there, whiz kid.
Damn. Okay, that was disrespectful. I don't know who you were aiming that
I don't
towards,
know.
but
Sorry, I'm getting fucking fired up, dude.
no, I am too, man. I wanted to be September already. I can't wait. But yeah, and then a few more signings. Tommy Townsend. We brought back new punter
That's the best
Cameron
move of the offseason.
Johnston.
That's the best move. We also upgraded at punter. Got an all-pro punter who's punted in the Super Bowl. That means everything.
Yeah,
We're looking at every aspect. We are looking at our special teams. That's why we keep re-signing like Desmond King, Mike Ford.
yeah.
We got Lonnie Johnson too.
Lonnie
We
Johnson's
got
back on the
getting all
team,
these
which is
guys.
interesting.
getting all these guys who can play special teams, can help you in that aspect of that side of the ball. And
Mm.
I mean, Tommy Townsend is an upgrade over Cameron Johnson. So we're letting players walk and then upgrading in that position. We're hungry. We're a hungry program right now.
Yeah, and obviously we bring back Schultz, we bring back Kaimi Fairbairn. You mentioned Desmond King. Um, Overall, I'm loving what the Texans have done so far. I think we're having one of the best free agencies of out of every team in the NFL, and
Yeah,
I love how
absolutely.
aggressive we're being. I'm happy we're spending money, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I was kind of hoping I was thinking we were going to draft more defense and pay for offense, but it's kind of been the opposite. We haven't paid really anyone offensively at all. It's all been defense, which is great. Whenever you have a coach like D'Amico, get that talent in here, build a top three, maybe top. I'm not fucking kidding you. This might be a top one defense in the NFL. Like this,
I was thinking this would be the best defense in the NFL last year or like this year.
I don't know. At least when it comes to like, in the trenches, when it comes to defensive line, I don't know who's better. I don't know who's better. I don't.
I don't know who has a
We're
better, especially if we sign Eric Armstead or we
yeah,
somehow. Can you imagine if like Byron Murphy falls to us at 23, or we
crazy.
trade down and maybe get Jason Newton because I feel like he's falling a little bit down the board, but get a
He
guy
is.
like a
Yeah,
defensive tackle like that, it's easily the best defensive line in the NFL, easily.
yeah,
You know, but like I was gonna ask you, where do you think we go in the draft now, because there's so many interesting possibilities now in the draft. Now that we've signed Daniil Hunter, we've signed
yeah,
Danico Autry. Jeff Okuda could be our number 2 corner. I don't know. We have Joe Mixon. We're not going to be drafting Jonathan Brooks in the second round or anything like that. Or maybe we would. I don't know.
yeah.
But I was going to ask you,
Maybe,
what do you
but I
think?
doubt it.
What do you think? Because I mean, the draft right now is just a wild card.
It is. It is. I'm really. I think it's going to be overall depend on who's available. I think Jason Newton is a guy who's Byron Murphy. I think if he's available. But I really, if I had to say one thing right now, it's looking like we're going to use it on a receiver, that first round pick.
Mm,
I think we go receiver. I think Brian Thomas is going to be available. I don't know who their draft crush is. I know they met with Brian Thomas at the combine, but I'm thinking because we're also the Texans really need another receiver. Personally, I think they Tank Dell and Nico Collins are great in 1 and 2. I think we really need a solid 3. And Hunter Renfro's available. I wouldn't mind signing Hunter Renfro. He's a guy who I think if he's your number 3 guy in your wide receiver room and Noah Brown's your number 4, I think that's shaping up to be a good receiver room. But also I think that first round pick, number 23 overall, could be Brian Thomas Jr. or another receiver that Casario and D'Amico like. Um, to kind of round out the receiver room. I think I would love that too. I think ideally after the Akuta signing, I would love to see a receiver be taken in the first round. But if they
yeah.
also want to just keep building that defensive line, I think that would be the case too. What do you think?
I did see a tweet that it brought up a good point. I forgot who tweeted it, so if you're fucking watching, they're not. But if you're watching, shout out your tweet.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, why? Because a lot of people are now angling. Oh well, we can get corner in the first round. There's a lot of first round
right.
talent with corners. Corners are very plentiful in this draft. But someone
Yeah,
tweeted, why would you want to grab a corner in the first round with all of these amazing receivers in this draft? And there's a few
yeah,
of them, like you said. Brian Thomas Jr. would be a great addition to this offense. Another guy that could be an option at 23, and I think would be an amazing option at 23, is AD Mitchell. I know you know
yeah.
about that AD Mitchell dude. Like, dude,
Ooh,
that guy would be great in our
yeah.
offense. AD
He
Mitchell
would
would
be.
be a
He would be.
great. I mean, who? I mean, there's a lot of options. I know a lot of them.
Yeah,
Obviously, Neighbors will go top 10. Dunze will go probably top 10. Obviously, we're not going to have a shot at Marvin Harrison Jr. So fucking don't even. I mean,
yeah.
that would be amazing, but don't
Unless
even think
Nick
about
pulls
that.
off the craziest trade of all time, we're not getting Marvin Harrison Jr.
No, no way.
I
But
think.
I mean,
No, go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just
Uh,
say, but I mean, at 23, shut the fuck up, dude. But I think at 23, a lot of great options at receiver, more so maybe than corner, you know? So
yeah,
and that's one thing that we've been kind of thinking about, like corner over receiver. I don't know. But now
yeah,
a receiver in this a new receiver in this offense would I think put us in the Super Bowl. I think
yeah.
easily put us in the Super Bowl. I
No,
don't know.
totally.
I mean,
I
we're
agree,
looking
and it
fucking
depends on who,
backfield.
right? I mean, I like your pick of AD Mitchell. I don't know, Adonai, Adoni. I think it's Adonai Mitchell. I
Yeah.
love that. Here's the deal. Also, I don't hate Xavier Worthy. I mean, I know he's really fast. I do like Xavier. I don't know about the first round, but if they like him and they just want to use his speed in this room, because obviously Tank's fast, Nico's not as fast as Tank, but Tank is his speed's not even insane. He's quick, but he's more his route running is more the deal there. But Xavier Worthy obviously just broke the record for the 40 at the combine, which doesn't always translate like we saw with John Ross. It just didn't work. But
Yeah.
in an offense where you have to cover Nico, you have to cover Tank, you have to cover Dalton Schultz, and if you just want to send Xavier Worthy on a fucking go route, you can do it. I mean, I don't know who's going to be able to really cover him at that point whenever you're
No.
worried about all these other weapons on the field. So I wouldn't hate that. Also, Roman Wilson is a guy who he's not a first round dude, but he's cold. He's going to be good.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah.
but
I love that guy.
I really wish we could get Roma Dunze. I love him. Not gonna happen. But
It would be
I think
nice, wouldn't it?
it would be lovely. But I think overall the that first round pick is going to be used on a receiver, unless there we make some crazy move for Calvin Ridley or something like that. But
Yeah. Again, it depends on what happens before the 23rd pick. I mean, there could be a run on receivers, and there's not any receivers that for us to grab, so we grab whatever is available. But at this point, I am now wanting a receiver in the first round. I wasn't really on board with that originally. If it happened, I wasn't going to argue. I was going to be like, "That's fucking awesome.
yeah,
I love good offense," you know. But
right,
now I'm like, "Hey, if Brian Thomas Jr. is available, if AD Mitchell is available, pull the trigger on that because
yeah,
you can't." I mean, CJ Stroud wants weapons. Give him weapons, and then
yeah,
if in court in case of injury, you'll still have three guys who can ball out. Tank can ball,
yeah,
Nico can ball, and AD Mitchell and Brian Thomas Jr. will be ballers in the NFL. So I'm on
yeah,
board with a receiver in the first round, man, 100%.
yeah. Me too. But in free agency still isn't finished. We still have there's other names out there that have been connected to the Texans. The Texans have interest in other guys. So who knows if this is over? Who knows if we could pick up our
I don't
phone
think
right now or stop recording and we could have Eric Armstead, we could have Justin Simmons, we could have a bunch of different guys. But that's I think that'll do it for this episode, Garrett. Unless you have anything else.
no. So far it's an A+ free agency. In the first 3 days of it, it's A+. And like you
Yeah.
said, we're not done. We could be signing Eric Armstead and Justin Jefferson, or excuse me. Oh, hey, that'd be
Hey,
pretty nice. But
hey.
yeah, Justin Simmons. Who
Yeah.
knows? But so far, we've upgraded at multiple positions, and we haven't even spent that much money. So
No.
A
Still
plus,
have about
A plus
30
free agent.
million in cap left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that is Nick Casario, Lisan Al Gaib, A+ for you, sir. I mean, you were cooking.
Yeah.
Whoever doubted you in the first 4 hours of free agency, curses them, damn them, because that's wild. You were
Damn them.
cooking, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cooking.
But
What do you give our free agency so far, grade wise?
I'm right now I'm going to give it an A, and they can get an A plus by signing Eric Armstead and a safety.
Yeah, I mean, like what's more than an A+? What's like
Yeah.
to me it's an A+, but then if you sign those two guys or just one of them, it's like I don't know how much better you get. You were fucking.
Yeah. I
We're
mean,
going to the
Jesus
Super Bowl.
Christ.
We are going to the Super Bowl if you
Yeah.
do that. Like easily. Yeah.
I th-
I mean,
I think the Texans are probably I don't know, maybe there might be another team, maybe Packers maybe, but I think we're definitely the most improved team
We're the most
so
improved
far.
team, and we won our division last year. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you
Yeah,
you
we
do the math,
won.
whiz kid.
Yeah, we went 10-7, went to the divisional round, and we improved a lot.
Yeah,
So, you know,
yeah, but
love it.
we'll, it's obviously not done yet. Got more moves to make. I like you said, we can stop recording and then have Justin Simmons on our team. Who knows?
Yeah.
But right now, we're gonna hop on out of here. Um, I want to thank our sponsors. This episode of Off the Gridiron is sponsored by Celebrity Mint. Go follow them on socials. The Celebrity Mint. They have awesome sports memorabilia, awesome movie props, and movie memorabilia. They're great. So go check them out. Again, the Celebrity Mint. And thank you, Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. Go watch free agency there. You know, I've been glued to the TV watching NFL Network, free agency frenzy with my boys in different squares, and every now and then, like, dude, Ian Rapport will do exactly what you're doing. Just be on his phone and be like,
Yeah, just pick up
"Oh,
at the phone,
oh,
check.
hold on,
Yep.
Daniil Hunter." Yeah, and like that's what we'll do. But like I
That was a
digress.
good Ian.
Go
That was a
watch
good
him at
Ian
Go watch
impression.
him at Big City Wings. Thank you, Big City Wings. Thank you, Celebrity Mint, for powering this episode of Off the Gridiron.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much to our sponsors. Also, go and check us out on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Apollo Texans and Apollo HOU to stay up to date with all the latest Texans news and just Houston sports news in general. Also, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and it just lets us know that you like what we're doing. It means a lot to us, guys. Comment down below. Give us your thoughts on any of our free agent signings, who we should sign, who's available that needs to be Houston Texan. Let us know down in the comments below. Really interested to hear what y'all have to say. And other than that, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you later.
Watch Texans free agency.